Welcome back, everyone. Today, I got such a good one for you. I got a few small tips that are gonna make the world of difference for you making it to endgame. And I'm gonna be showing you how to position yourself, how not to get sprayed by the whole lobby, how to keep yourself safe and not be keyed by the best players in the lobby, and just to survive and make it to the latest parts of the game. And in this video, these tips will be very simple, easy to digest, and easy for any new player or even veteran player to understand. So guys, let's get into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about is how to use your materials. You have metal, wood, and brick, and each one has a separate job. Wood is going to be used for temporary usage, from rotating to getting mats in the middle of the open. This is really just trying to prevent you from getting beamed, and it's going to be a temporary solution that you can use when you're rotating or just not being in a permanent spot. While brick is going to be used for your main bases, unless you're in a bad position. Well, then in a bad position, you're going to be using metal, and metal is going to allow you to be more safe. It's going to pretend that you actually are in a better position than you actually are, because most stacked teams will build in metal because they have so many refreshes and so much more mats to use up. They may as well build in metal. So this metal kind of is psychological for the opponents as well. People are less likely to shoot it because they think you're doing better in a better position. While metal is also a good thing so you don't get sprayed out really fast. And if you're in a bad position in zone, metal is a great use because you'll be sprayed at by the people less, because they'll think, why would I spray if there's no point? I'm not going to get a kill if it's all metal. But it really doesn't even matter. If your position is that badly, you're going to get sprayed either way. So how do you know if you're in a good position in zone? This really comes down to where are you in location to the rest of the group. Normally, in an endgame, there's one large group where everyone is sitting together. This is where you're going to be wanting to sit, but you're going to want to sit outside under another team, because you won't be able to be looked at by height, and you won't be in as much danger as the people in the middle, while the people in the most danger are actually the people outside of the group, because the people outside of the group are going to be the people to get targeted by the whole group. Because everyone's going to have a sight line, they're going to have one single target to all spray it, and you're going to get lobbied. This is one of the hardest things to get over with, and ends a lot of my endgames back in the day, just because I didn't know where to go, and I would just get sprayed by so many people. And getting sprayed is really going to ruin your game. It's going to run out all your mats, lose a bunch of health, and a lot of times even just lead to your death. So guys, that is an amazing thing you should definitely focus on. Just don't be separated from the group. And if you are, build in metal, because you're going to be less likely to be sprayed. Another way to position yourself is have natural cover. Trees, rocks, even mountains are probably one of the biggest things. If you can get next to this, people are much less likely to shoot a tree or a rock, and can't even shoot through a whole mountain. Then that blocks off a whole sight line for you to be shot at and can protect you in a lot of situations. The next thing is, how do we even get to endgame? How should we base up? How should we protect ourselves to make it to the final zones?
Yo, he's in my box.
One of the greatest strategies for this is basing up in a 3x3 brick structure on a bunker. This makes you look like a really big opponent and is really scary for the other people in the lobby. This has saved some of my hardest games. One of the games, off spawn, we had nothing. We had white guns, no heals, we were all shamble. But we were able to get to a bunker first, and we had enough brick to do a 3x3 box. We sat in our cones, made sure whenever somebody came close to us, we would make sure we pretend we're big enough, we shoot at them, and get some beams off and stuff to scare them away, so we never get keyed or anything. So we are re-looted now, from a terrible game to an amazing game, just because we bunkered up on the actual bunker, and this saves a lot of games. And another thing with this is you're going to be sitting in storm a lot, so always hold whites. Whites are so underrated, and they allow you flexibility, because the zone a lot of times forces you to go in and protect yourself and have to make bad rotates because storm will kill you. If you have white, you're not forced to push into the zone in a bad position, and you're also you can use the zone as a tool. People aren't going to be in the zone, they're less likely to fight you in zone, and you're a lot more protected in zone. So, if you're in a bad position in the middle of a fight, and the other team's not fully willing to drop down to you, bunker up on the bottom, make a whole metal base, sit there with your medkits, and just wait them out, because at some point, they're going to have to leave. And you can just sit down there and chillax for a second, and wait for them to leave. Once you leave, you escape, get heals, rotate to right or left side, whichever is most beneficial, whichever has the most movement and less people on it, you go to. Your game's a lot better now because you didn't risk that choppy fight, because that could have been the way you die. And disengaging is great, but running from a fight can be very difficult because people will just chase you, waste all your mats, waste all your heals, and that's your game. That's game over. So that's why bunkering up with whites is one of the best strategies. Also, at any time in the game, staying in Storm can be a lifesaver. Because let's say all the medallions, all the best teams are right in front of you. And if you didn't have whites, you're forced to rotate through them. Very close to guaranteeing you dying. But you have whites, you're able to make weird side rotates that can take you big loops around, but keep you away from all the good players and save your game. So don't be too scared of fighting people, or don't be too scared of Storm. And make sure you have whites every game. Lastly, this is one of the hardest things to learn, and is when you should shoot people. When are people looking for you to shoot them? And when are you shooting them makes you look weak, and when shooting makes you look strong. Spraying on height makes you look strong, but shooting people looking for a refresh edge of zone in a brick box looks very weak, and people are going to want to key you if they have time. And another thing is, if there is a team that shambles, shoot them, because if zone is pushing you, they need to get to zone because they don't have enough shield and whites to survive. So make sure you fight when it's unoptimal for the other team to fight. So if you see a team coming out of Storm and there's absolutely no time for them and you're in a good position with whites, fight them, because that's going to be a good fight, because they're going to be forced to somehow get out, because they are not going to survive in the Storm, because you don't know how much whites they have, but they probably don't have that much if they've been in the Storm for a while. So that's really the simplest things. Make sure when you're shooting at people, you're in a position of power, not in a position that people think you're weak, that you need a refresh. Make sure that they think that you just need a free kill or two for extra points, not that you need a refresh. And that's really it for my main tips on how to make it to endgame. I've learned so much this season, so guys, I've had a great placement, so thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you learned something, so have a great night.